YouTube? Ebonstar here, and we're back with another preview of yet another game on Play It Painted. And this preview is going to be concerning this game, Deepwars. Deepwars is a, let's read the bottom, a tactical miniature battle in the watery abyss. Deepwars is a game that came out recently. I believe it was on Kickstarter, and in fact has another game, Shadow Sea, which is currently on Kickstarter. So, full disclosure here on Deepwars, this was a game that had kind of been lingering around. A couple of guys in the club have mentioned Deepwars to me, and, you know, upon first hearing it, I thought, well, okay, that's kind of quirky and kitschy. Sure, you get to play a miniatures game that's set underwater. Okay, but if that's the description, not enough of a reason for me to get into the game. But I did a little bit more digging, especially with the new Kickstarter out, and I kind of got attracted to the theme and the setting of this game. So yeah, it's an underwater game. Yeah, that's original, but there's subtle things about the artwork, and as we'll see in a moment, the miniatures of this game, they kind of drew me in. Now, this game has I have some mixed impressions of this game. I have not tried it yet. I really have read only parts of this rulebook, but here's the rulebook. It is, let's see here, about 160 pages. Yeah, 160 pages of this rulebook. You can see some of the templates in the back. It's got measuring templates. May have to make sticks or something out of that. Good references in the back. You can make custom models. Okay, sold. I love systems where you can make your own types of models, and you can buy their special abilities, and you can do your base points and all of that, and that sounds great. So this is the rulebook. It is a miniature skirmish game set in kind of an alternate Earth in the late 17th century. The book has some fluff to it. I really haven't even started to look at this book, but really quickly, looking at the artwork, I get a mixed impression because, you know, I'll be honest here. I looked at this artwork and I said, it kind of looks like an old D&D book or an old like TSR book from the early 80s, which may not be impressive to people today, but kind of resonates something about me and my history in the nerd lifestyle growing up. And so I was like, okay, I'm in. That's cool. It's my brother can actually, you know, is actually a really good artist. I think I would actually set his skill level a little bit above this art, but that's just my first impression. If you look at this art, actually, there's some pretty cool artwork going on here to make this look like stuff is all underwater. Kind of the bioluminescence of stuff, and just the action, the energy in this definitely feels like you're in some deep underwater adventure. So Deepwars, here's the playtesters. So that was cool. The other thing is, let's look at the factions real quick. Let's see if it will. Yeah. So here we go. So the Deepwars has 4 factions, at least to start with. The Fortune Hunters, which I believe are just basically your typical human guys looking for treasure and artifacts in this underground, undersea world. Then you have the Dark Mariners, kind of the corrupted beings of this world. The Ancients of Atalan, I guess these are akin to like the Atlanteans. They have like high technology, but they're fairly fragile. And then you have the Scaly Hoard, which are mostly like sea creatures and other races kind of working together in the undersea. The game does have, it is a fairly and for lack of a better term, it is a fairly deep game. There is a campaign mode, which is kind of cool. Sorry, I don't know my way around this rulebook well enough to get to those appropriate parts. But the game itself has a fair bit of meat to the rules. I mean, there are rules for like dragging things around, busting through things. You can climb up and down levels, so it's actually a very three-dimensional miniatures game. And you know, for you fans of mechanics, that might be something for you. Should also point out that paper is that this is printed on not so great, kind of like comic book paper. But you know what? It's cool. I mean, look at that. There's, you know, fighting fish. I'm down with that. That's cool. So yeah, this is the rule book. I really am looking forward to playing this. Here's an example of like a damage chart that's actually on the back of the stat cards for each model, where you know there are damage locations. So if you take out a model in the head, you will kill that model. So very cool looking theme, and we'll look at some of these in a minute here. But yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to say about the game yet because, quite honestly, I haven't tried it yet. So that is more than enough rambling about this. Let's go ahead and look at some models. Okay, so it's time to look at some models, and I actually just recently finished painting 2 starter sets for Deepwars. Really quickly, each of the starter sets come in these like large size blisters, and within the blisters you get some quick start rules, which is really cool, and like, you know, basic gameplay. It's just a little double-sided open-end thing here. So you can get started playing a game right away. And you get stat cards for each of the models. So this first set is going to be the Atalans. Sorry, I'm going to butcher the names here. But here's a typical stat card. I love that the cards are actually pretty good quality. And I love that the artwork is central to the card and pervasive throughout. One side of the card is very simple, just statistics and special abilities and the name and point value of the particular model. Then you've got the damage area in the back here, so these are perfect for laminating or putting in a clear sleeve and then marking off, and then some special abilities here. I would point out that everything is basically shorthand, which is nice because it saves a lot of space on the card. Again, you can appreciate the artwork on these, so that's cool. So the Atalan comes with that. It comes with the... Oh wait, you want to look at models. I'm sorry. Let's not look at cards. Let's look at the models. And I can discuss kind of the painting and everything that went into these models. Now, the Atalans, the Ancients of Atalans, is kind of an acquired taste. I wasn't sure what to make of this set when I first kind of cracked it open and put it together. But as I started to paint it, and well, as I started to build it and paint it, I really got to appreciate what this set is and kind of how cool it is. First off, the packing in the blisters is really nice because everything comes in its own little stapled plastic baggie, so you get all the parts to the model. Now, each model isn't a lot of parts. I think we're talking at the most 3 parts to some of these models. And the models, the sculpts kind of have these little pegs in them, so if you're not really good at pinning, you can get away with just kind of dry fitting the parts together, maybe a little bit of cleanup, and you're good to go. I prefer pinning though because it's just more the more stable way to go. So these models are pretty skinny, kind of frail looking models, and that makes sense. And they got this kind of divey motif to them. The models actually one of the best parts of these models, and I'm sorry, I'm still working on these, is that each model does come with its own base insert, which is fantastic. I love that about these models immediately. They come with their own base inserts, and they assemble fairly easily. The tricky part, really, is painting these up and trying to come up with schemes that even come remotely close to the artwork. Because here, let's look at the artwork really quick. Like this guy, I mean, it's a bright gold and black, and there's, you know, there's all kinds of like opportunity for OSL, and I'm sure a highly skilled painter or a more patient painter than I could probably get those effects across. I went for just a little more black and yellow, a straight scheme on that model. So we'll put him there. Still, they're quite fun. I like that the delicate nature of these models. I don't think a lot of people will like them, but or be immediately drawn to them, but they're an acquired taste. Especially this guy. He's really, really skinny. But you know, I went with a dark motif, a black and red motif there, which is actually not that far off from the artwork. And then you got this guy, this cool like robot crab like thing that is quite fun. Did a little bit of like a kind of a gold or brass style NMM on it. And NMM is great on this stuff because it's you know, it's cartoony looking, it's bright, and it's vibrant, it's crisp. I like that. The miniatures painting have very well defined details, so they're not difficult to paint. But again, the color scheme is probably going to be the difficulty in working with these. Now let's look at the set that I think people are going to love about this game. And I'm sorry that this preview is going so long, but we're just going to do it because I just finished painting these. These are the Scaly Hoard. Let me get the cards out for the Scaly Horde so that we know what we're talking about here. I'll put these cards over here. So you got like the Draconid, the Abyssal Gark, great model. The Salvager Dagathonan Sugar, and then the Click-Clack Scientist, which is this guy. So Click-Clack Scientist, pretty cool. I like that he has, you know, you can see his like kind of tentacly body part kind of sticking into the exoskeleton there. Scaly Hoard is really, really cool. Here's the Salvager guy. So he's got kind of a, kind of did like a froggy style theme for him. These are really fun, you guys. I had a blast painting Scaly Hoard. Here's the Shaman guy. Really bright. I mean, the kinds of colors that you could get away with, and just the blendings that you can do on these are so fun. Scaly Hoard is super, super fun, you guys. And then finally, here's the Gark. And I love the Gark. He's cool. That is a cool looking miniature. Lots and lots of areas to do things like tentacles, and you can do light effects, and you could do just a joy to paint. This Gark definitely was definitely the most rewarding miniature within Deepwars that I painted out of these two starter sets. So here we go, Scaly Horde. I'll separate them out so you can see. So this is the Scaly Horde starter pack. Now the Scaly Horde starter pack is, I believe, about $5 more than the Ancients of Adelan. The Ancients of Adelan and the Fortune Hunters are the cheaper sets. Scaly Horde and Dark Mariners are the more expensive sets. I think it's flat out because there's more metal in the Scaly Horde than in the Ancients of Adelan. But let's not forget that this is all metal plus the base insert. I mean, you could probably kill somebody with these here. So anyway, that's it for our preview of Deepwars. Looking forward to playing a game. Oh, by the way, some basics on the game. 3x3 board. People are trying to figure out how to do their boards. I'm actually going to use my winter Zuzzy mat and just change up some of the scenery I put on top of it, and I think it's going to look fine. But yeah, wow, like Deepwars, if these models don't really sell you, these models sure will. They're a lot of fun, you guys. And Deepwars sounds like an interesting game. I'm really hoping I enjoy it. Again, I don't know anything about the game, really, other than there's some parts about it that look really fun and exciting. There's some other parts that I'm not entirely sold on. But again, let's give the game a shot and let's see what we come back with. So that's it for this very long preview. I will see you guys on the next one.